Hey everyone, I'm Jason, and this is your commentary on Genesis chapter 49. Then Jacob sent for his sons. He said, "Gather around me so I can tell you what will happen to you in days to come. Sons of Jacob, come together and listen. Listen to your father Israel." Now, Israel is about to give them both a blessing as well as a prophecy of what's going to happen to them as tribes in the future. Reuben, you are my oldest son. You were my first child. You were the first sign of my strength. You were first in honor. You were first in power. But you are as unsteady as water, so you won't be first any more. You had sex with your father's concubine in his bed. You lay on his couch and made it unclean. It was a long time ago when Reuben slept with his father's concubine. And up until this point, we haven't heard Jacob mention anything about it. But we see here that consequences are finally kicking in. Jacob says that he knows what happened and is actually going to take it away from Reuben. Reuben, even though he's the first son, is going to lose out on the double portion that was given to the first son. It's going to go to Joseph instead. Simeon and Levi are brothers. Their swords have killed a lot of people. I won't share in their plans. I won't have anything to do with them. They became angry and killed people. They cut the legs off of oxen just for the fun of it. May the Lord put a curse on them because of their terrible anger. I will scatter them in Jacob's land. I will spread them around in Israel. This goes back to when Simeon and Levi killed all the men of Shechem because of what happened to their sister Dinah. Because of their anger and what they did to the city, Jacob remembers that, and there will be a consequence for them as well. Jacob isn't going to take away their territories completely, however they are going to be greatly diminished. Levi is going to turn into all the priests. He's not going to have his own territory, but he's going to have cities set up in the territories of all of his brothers. And Simeon, his land is actually going to be in the middle of Judah's territory. Eventually they're going to become one of the smallest tribes and almost completely engulfed by Judah. Now, both tribes will still exist, but they're going to be dispersed because of what Simeon and Levi had already done. Judah, your brothers will praise you. Your enemies will be brought under your control. Your father's sons will bow down to you. Judah, you are like a lion's cub. You return from hunting, my son. Like a lion, you lie down and sleep. You are like a mother lion. Who dares to wake you up? The right to rule will not leave Judah. The ruler's rod will not be taken from between his feet. It will be his until the king it belongs to comes. It will be his until the nations obey him. He will tie his donkey to a vine. He will tie his colt to the very best branch. He will wash his clothes in wine. He will wash his robes in the red juice of grapes. His eyes will be darker than wine. His teeth will be whiter than milk. Here, Jacob is giving the blessing of governance to Judah. So, although Joseph is the one who receives a double portion of land, Judah is the one who gets to rule over all of Israel. King David comes through Judah, and it goes all the way down to Jesus. King David comes from Judah, and the lineage goes all the way down to the Messiah, to Jesus. So Jesus is from the tribe of Judah. And that's what it says here about the ruler's rod not being taken away from him. Zebulun will live by the seashore. He will become a safe harbor for ships. His border will go out toward Sidon. Now, technically, the bulk of Zebulun is going to be kind of landlocked. It's in the middle of all the other ones. And Asher's territory is just north of him, in between Zebulun and Sidon. There's a lot of speculation about the exact borders for each of these territories. So some scholars believe that Zebulun has the bulk of its land, but it also has a little offshoot that runs up the entire coast from Tyre up to Sidon. Issachar is like a donkey, lying down between two saddlebags. He sees how good his resting place is. He sees that his land is pleasant, so he'll carry a heavy load on his back. He will obey when he's forced to work. Dan will do what is fair for his people. He will do it as one of the tribes of Israel. Dan will be a serpent by the side of the road. He will be a poisonous snake along the path. It bites the horse's heels so that the rider falls off backward. Lord, I look to you to save me. Gad will be attacked by a group of robbers, but he'll attack them as they run away. Gad is going to be separated from all the other tribes because he's on the eastern side of the Dead Sea. This means that he's surrounded by all of their enemies, and they're going to attack, usually going through him first. Now, although he is attacked first, he's also been known as one of the territories that continuously defends the rest of Israel, because he's able to ward off all the enemies. Asher's food will be rich and sweet. He will provide food that even a king would enjoy. Naphtali is a female deer that is set free and gives birth to beautiful fawns. Now, Naphtali is actually the territory where Jesus most frequently ministered out of, and the majority of the disciples come from this territory as well. Because the disciples were from this territory, they were like deers being set free. They had a passion to go out and share the good news with everyone. Joseph is a vine that grows a lot of fruit. It grows close by a spring. Its branches climb over a wall. Mean people shot arrows at him. They shot at him because they were angry. But his bow remained steady. His strong arms moved freely. The hand of the mighty one of Jacob was with him. The shepherd, the rock of Israel, stood by him. Your father's God helps you. The mighty one blesses you. He gives you blessings from the highest heavens. He gives you blessings from the deepest oceans. He blesses you with children and with a mother's milk. Your father's blessings are great. They are greater than the blessings from the age-old mountains. They are greater than the gifts from the ancient hills. Let all of those blessings rest on the head of Joseph. Let them rest on the head of the one who is prince among his brothers. Joseph gets an equally long portion along with Judah. Although Judah got the governance blessing, Joseph has the territory's blessing. Joseph isn't a territory in Israel. However, you have Ephraim, which is a territory, and Manasseh, which has two separate territories as well. So his sons inherit a huge portion of Israel. He really does receive the blessing of territories. Benjamin is a hungry wolf. In the morning, he eats what he has killed. In the evening, he shares what he has stolen. All of those are the 12 tribes of Israel. That's what their father said to them when he blessed them. He gave each one the blessing that was just right for him. Then Jacob gave directions to his sons. He said, I'm about to join the members of my family who have already died. Bury me with them in the cave of the field of Ephron the Hittite. The cave is in the field of Machpelah, near Mamre in Canaan. Abraham had bought it as a place where he could bury his wife's body. He had bought the cave from Ephron the Hittite, along with the field. The bodies of Abraham and his wife Sarah were buried there. So were the bodies of Isaac and his wife Rebekah. I also buried Leah's body there. Abraham bought the field and the cave from the Hittites. When Jacob had finished telling his sons what to do, he pulled up his feet into his bed. Then he took his last breath and joined the members of his family who had already died. Well, that's it for commentary on Genesis chapter 49. Thank you so much for joining me, and I'll see you guys next time.